Welcome back. So, we were discussing about market demand. That was the part, chapter 3 of business plan. The next chapter, chapter 4, is about competition. Competition is regarded as dirty things. Like, as someone said, competition is a bitch. But that's what gives us puppies. Meaning that because there is competition, we are trying to overcome the competition and we are trying to win. So competition, more so particularly for this context, there is competition, and that you are going to talk about, and you are going to prove that by winning over the competition, you are going to become a winner. So there is competition, but we are going to become a winner. That is the philosophy of this dialogue, tagline. Understand and respect competition. So this goes well with the tagline that competition should not be ignored. You would dismiss them, meaning your reader will dismiss you because they will think that you don't have any idea about market competition and you are unprepared. If you are not aware about the presence of competition, you cannot remain prepared with the to fight the competition. You focus on your USP to compete, to beat the competition, meaning there should be a particular focus. USP is unique selling proposition, meaning there should be some factor in your product or business model that is going to give you the competitive edge. So for example, your product has a feature that is not present in your competitor's product, and then that feature is most sought after by your customer. In that case, your customers are going to buy your product. So that is your USP. Your USP may be just after sales service. You offer wonderful service that others are not offering, something like that. So that is how you beat competition. If you follow Porter's 5 forces analysis and put your company perspective or the whole market perspective against your company, you will do a wonderful justice to project before your audience the real competitive landscape of your business. So give the 5 forces and you explain that we stand in this competitive landscape with these forces and there is every reason for us to win. The information should emerge automatically. Then comes chapter 5, which is strategy. Strategies are the actions that you are going to take to overcome the challenges that you have projected in the previous chapters. That market has competition and we are going to overcome the competition or beat the competition. How? Through these strategies. So here you say all the strategies. Now look at the tagline. We shall either find a way or make one, meaning that we shall either discover existing knowledge or we shall explore what strategies can be executed, implemented so as to beat the competition, or maybe we have to invent something, some strategies to fight. So either we shall find one or we shall make one. So you assess what your competitive position is. Maybe Porter 5 forces analysis will give you. Then you kind of tell the audience how you're going to kind of challenge this competition. How competitive is your business in each of the main market segment? If you have one segment, then how you stand in that particular segment. What is your strategy for strengthening competitiveness in key segment or boosting the balance of your overall portfolio of the segment, maybe multiple products? What risk you foresee and what opportunities that can come out of this risk that you foresee. It's very important. Neither you exaggerate your opportunities, saying that we have a wonderful, groundbreaking, earth-shattering opportunities, not like that. You be realistic on your opportunities. At the same time, do not gloss over the risks either, meaning you also talk about the risk. I have been overemphasizing on this point. It can never be overemphasized. Tell your strategies to beat the competition. There are too many times it has been repeated. There are a number of ways you can try to sustain your competitive edge through all these and many more. One is technology. You have a patent and you have a technology that is protected by patent. Then you continue to innovate to remain ahead of the technology that is emerging. Then you continuously improve the process so that you can reduce cost of production and you can have pricing power, meaning that you can sell the product at a slightly less price than the competitors and win. You do content marketing, meaning you educate your customer about their, you empower them to think what they should look for in a product and how competitors may be fooling them or maybe they're confusing them, and you educate them about what to look for in a product and what are there in your product. That is how you get the confidence of your customer, and then you are capable of making a relationship with them, lasting relationship. Content marketing we have seen in case of Huggies and many more. I have given some examples. Investment in branding, very important. You create brand and customer becomes loyal, because through brand you send a message. You try to give your own narrative that resonate the customer's need, requirement, their persona, and then there is a unique connection. And after that, even if you increase your price, customer will still continue to buy your product. So invest in customer relationship, building customer relationship. Particularly for business to business ventures, customer relationship is all the more important, and it can actually be built. Mark Twain once said about resources, that it is not the size of the dog in the fight that matters, it is the size of the fight in the dog that matters. Meaning it's not number of people you have this metric that we have 100 people working for us. It is the power of them, the skill that they bring, the capability, their capabilities that matters. So most investors normally say that we invest in the team. Why so? Because team brings so much of competitive advantage. They bring the managerial skill, they bring the skill for marketing, for operation, etc. So that is the main component, one of the main components of resources. So resources can be many more, like technology is a resource, personnel that you recruit are resources, input requirements like access to raw material, services, utilities, like suppose it's water intensive process. So if you are at some place where water is far below the ground level, you are in trouble. So if you are close to water bodies, this is something like you have access to this particular resource. Logistic requirement like distribution. You are selling, say how to distribute through retail network, how you are going to deliver it to the customer, and if customers are spread all across the country, how you are going to give services after sales. So logistic is a huge concern depending on the type of your product. Financial requirement. Financial resource is definitely one of the key resources. Other resources are like personnel. So you need management who can manage your business. You need marketing resources who can create, acquire and retain customers. Operational, you have to have your operation efficient so that you can cut cost and you can remain competitive in the marketplace. Chapter 7 is financial outlay. Financial outlay, financial closure, and then financial projections. Financial outlay meaning how much money you need and why you need them. So you have to have a list of items like capital asset or maybe fixed asset like equipment, building may be one of them, and then all other say items that you want to buy, say furniture, fixture, interior, etc. That is one part, that is the capital investment that you make. The other investment like for working capital, like procuring raw material, maintaining finished goods, and then meeting your day-to-day expenses. So everything together is your financial outlay, meaning how much money or capital you need to successfully run this business. Financial closure means what are the sources of money that you can bank upon to meet your financial outlay. So these are the two ends that should meet, meaning these are the amount of money that you need and these are the sources to completely fund this requirement. Third is the projected financials. We are going to see that moving forward. So suppose you are going to start your company next year, say 1st of April. So till 1st of April, whatever expenses you have incurred, these may be either capital investment or maybe your regular expenses. All expenses that you have incurred either can be shown in a profit loss account, but since you have no sales till that time, it is better to club them in a single entity and call them preliminary and pre-operative expenses that you can carry in the balance sheet in the form of asset, and then gradually amortize them, and then that means you are charging your profit loss account not now but gradually moving forward. So this entire thing should be shown separately in the appendix, not really in the body. In the body you can just write that we have already invested so and so money for R&D, for development of the product, and these are the sources, meaning the founders have brought this, they have raised many crowdsourcing or any other source, maybe friends and relatives. So this gives the picture about the present, the status so far. And this actually talks about, say, your requirement of money for next round, meaning now you are planning to go to market, so you need to have a formal manufacturing setup and all infrastructural requirement. So you can actually list them and then find the total cost that you are going to incur, and then you show how much money you are going to bring and what is the shortfall that you are actually pitching for before the investors to get. Suppose you need $1 million, you tell your audience that I am looking for $1 million, say for 20% of, in exchange for 20% of my equity. Then they are going to ask you, what you want to do with this $1 million? Now you start blubbering, sends a very wrong message, and whatever wonderful things that you talk before that or after that cannot actually kind of neutralize this negative impact when you do not have data to justify why you need this money that you have just kind of called for, that I need this money. So here you have a shortfall of 7 crore rupees. So now you can tell your audience that I want to acquire this, I have this sources, I am looking for 7 crore rupees, which is equivalent to $1 million, you are done. And you have to show projected profit loss account, projected cash flow statement and projected balance sheet. You give the gist on the body and detail in the annexure. It's very important, and everything is done, particularly the profit loss account is done based on market research. I have discussed that in a separate session where market research actually come down to your addressable market and then how you are going to convert that into projected sales and profit loss account. Based on that you do profit particularly is projected based on competition, meaning what is the price at which competitors' products are selling and what you think you can sell at which price. Chapter 8 is a risk, opportunities, rewards and sensitivities. John F. Kennedy once said very famously that when written in Chinese the word crisis, it composed of two characters. Chinese language is full of characters actually. One represents danger and the other represents opportunity, meaning that crisis, risk, adversities, they always come hand in hand with opportunities. One has to be able to find out the opportunities. So risk and opportunities come hand in hand. So if you are thinking of an opportunity, risk will always be there. So you try to identify the strategies that you are going to adopt to translate the risk into opportunities. Opportunities are normally hidden in adversities. So you have to explain how you're going to transform this into opportunities. This is about risk. So having forecasted the projected financial, now provide the risk, means you identify the major risk that will come on your way to achieve these financials. Means what can actually prevent you from achieving these financials, and what are the likelihood of them actually manifesting. You can depict the risk perhaps in a canvas, that's what I am proposing, with the likelihood, impact and likelihood in the following manner. I was inspired by the same book I mentioned. They have also shown almost the same thing. So here you just show that these are the major risks, and these are the likelihood of them happening, and these are the impact. So depending on the location of particular, suppose this the book says clouds and stars, so you can call them same or whatever name you give. You can show that these are the major risks, and these are the likelihood of them happening, and this is the impact that is going to cause to your business. And then you have to show that, look, this risk comes with these opportunities, and these are the strategies for me to convert this risk into opportunities. So you should be able to convince. That is the purpose of showing this. And you set out and weigh up the big risk and how you convert that into opportunities. Their likelihood, their occurrence, likelihood of occurrence, impact on the bottom line and cash flow if they do occur. Check if there is any risk that can potentially kill your business. You must have a clear, comprehensive plan to beat that. On balance, size and likelihood of opportunities should beat the foreseeable risks. Opportunities should overshine the risk or outshine the risk. Rewards are the thing that you're going to show to your investors that, look, if you support us, if we have this money, we'll be successfully running this business. Maybe 5 years down the line or 4 years, after 4 years, we are going to grow into this valuation, and your money is going to be multiplied 5 times, 3 times, 10 times or something. This is important because your audience is most interested in this data than anything else, and it is going to sound like a music to their ears. So you're going to satisfy them. So talk about it very loudly. Last one is sensitivities. Sensitivities, as I explained at the beginning, it is the numerical estimation of how your cash flow is affected by any of the big risks if they manifest. Meaning, if the price goes up by 5%, how it affects your cash flow. Or if the input cost goes up by 5%. Or if some suppliers stop supplying, then what are the alternatives? That of course won't be numerically expressed, translated, but then this is also part of the sensitivity analysis. You can also draw attention to the upside of something, like suppose we have been always talking about risk. You can always say that, look, this is a tremendous opportunity waiting for us. If you can convert this, or maybe suppose you say that price may go down by 5%, we are affected this much. But if the price goes up by 5%, our profit may actually double, because cost is not going to go up. So your gross profit goes up, the entire amount perhaps is converted into profit before tax. You pay tax and net profit perhaps doubles. Conclusion is very important. As I said, this is the slide, or this is the page where your audience is going to read for the last time, and this is going to give the last impression. And last impression is the most lasting impression. So you have to drive home the points which will make your case a compelling proposition for success. Now about the other part of the technical part of the business plan. It should be something like 25 to 30 pages long. Should not be too short, too long. Ideally 35 A4 pages. The main chapters, that is the body of the the material should be something like 3 to 4 pages long, and particularly the business page, that should be about 4 to 6 pages. The first part, that is a summary, and the last chapter, the chapter 8, this should be kind of couple of pages long. So everything together is going to be something like 35 pages. Very important is the style. Style, one may think that how does it matter? The content matters, but if content is presented in a shabby manner, the value is going to be lost. So style matters. Use words very sparingly, meaning that if a word can be removed, just eliminate that. That is not going to change your presentation. If any sentence can be removed without changing your business plan, that should be removed. Even a paragraph should be removed if that paragraph is not adding a lot of value. Make the most of design elements. Design elements are like headings, subheadings, like graphics, like bulleted lists. Normally a document is a boring piece of thing that people will never like to read. But if there are changes like this, there are headings, subheadings, and there are images, graphics, then it attracts people's attention and it distracts the monotony, breaks the monotony, and then they become interested to read the matter. So, and they kind of, you give something like this. Say you write only one sentence, there is very less possibility that people will read. But if you give the right side one with a pie chart, and chances are that people will immediately look at it and make the head and tail of it. But on the other side, people will kind of overlook if something is written in text format. So it is always better that you show graphics liberally. Should be able to grab the attention and keep it. So you should always be very focused, be very should have a lot of formatting done, meaning there should be dynamism in the report. It should not look like a boring, monotonous report. Serial entrepreneur Steve Blank says only 0.3% of the proposals are accepted. That means 1 out of 300 proposals will be selected. So you can understand how many proposals they sift through, they evaluate. So that should give you a compelling reason to be more attentive on the style part of the report. Tell you a story. At the beginning or somewhere tell you a story, there should be compelling part in it, and people will share your vision if the story is compelling and they share the same sentiment that you are trying to sentiment that drove you to adopt this business model. Companies are positioned within a narrative. How your audience perceive that narrative will influence how they get invested in your vision. So not only customer, your co-founders, your early employees, your other stakeholders, your investors, all of them will share the same vision, provided you can tell your story in a compelling manner, and then they kind of become similarly emotional about it. Howard Gardner said, stories are the single most powerful weapon in a leader's arsenal, meaning that you can tell a story to your employees that, look, our mission is this, and what are we going to do to the society with this? If that is compelling, your employees will be more devoted towards their work. They will think that we are doing a we are solving a novel social cause, means we are furthering a novel social cause, something like that. So you can always tell a story and win in whatever. So know your audience and give the information they need to make decisions. Last but not the least, expert says that your business plan is a journey. That journey should traverse the 7 C's. What are they? Told very succinctly, it should be clear, good plan. It should be crisp, meaning short, simple but cozy. It should be concise. It should be consistent. The journey should be kind of a smooth ride and consistent, nothing inconsistent, coherent and creditable. Only then it's going to be a winning proposition. I think that's all I have today. Thank you very much. These are references. I have used all these books and some concluding remarks, and then thank you.